Week 13 of the NFL season is upon us. Last week, 11-4. That is a great record to have. And I also, for the first time, 4-0 in picks against the spread. That is a huge week to have, especially the week before that. I had my worst performance of the season, and I said that I was going to respond in a big way. And just like I always do, I responded in a big way. So let's get to the Week 13 NFL picks. Couple good matchups this week. Some matchups, they don't really look that good, but that's okay. So let's get to the Thursday night football game between the New Orleans Saints and the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are coming off a 3-game winning streak, and the Saints, well, they're one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in the NFL. And I'm going to pick the Saints. Next, we got the Baltimore Ravens and the Atlanta Falcons. And the Ravens are 2-0 with Lamar Jackson under center. And the Falcons, I think, will have a hard time stopping Lamar Jackson. If I'm the Ravens, I'm going to put Lamar Jackson to a bigger position this game. Kind of have Lamar Jackson do what Cam Newton does. Just tell him to go wild out there. Just don't be afraid to run the football. Because the Falcons' defense, they have had a hard time stopping people this season, all season long. And this is a type of game where the Ravens will come back in the end. It seems like that ideal game where the Falcons, they just struggle to close it out. It seems like a game they're going to be ahead for most of, if not the entire game. And the Ravens come back and win within the last minute and a half or even the last 10 seconds. I see this vibe of the Bengals game from earlier in the season where Lamar Jackson throws the game-winning touchdown pass with like 8 seconds left. It seems like that ideal type of game. So I'm going to pick the Ravens. Next, we got the Denver Broncos and the Cincinnati Bengals. And I'm going to pick the Broncos. The Broncos are coming off 2 wins in a row against playoff teams playoff caliber teams in the Chargers and the Steelers. And I think the Broncos, they're going to go 3 in a row. Possibly saving Vance Joseph's job. He was on the hot seat toward the middle of the season when they were on a losing streak. But I think it's starting to come together. I think that defense is getting a lot better as the season goes along. And the next couple weeks will determine how good this Broncos team can really be. And I will take Denver. Next, we got the Los Angeles Rams and the Detroit Lions. The Rams, I think, will continue winning, although the Lions aren't as bad as a team as their 4-7 record shows. They could have won maybe a couple more games, maybe 2 more of them. They just had some close losses early in the season. That's the reason why they're at a 4-7 record. But I think the Rams, they're going to win this one. I don't necessarily think it's going to be easy, but it could be easy at the same time. But I think the Rams, they will get it done. Next, got the Arizona Cardinals and the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to take the Packers. Although there is about maybe a 3% to a 3.5% chance that the Packers do make the playoffs, they'll at least win this game. If they end up losing this game, then the Packers should just tank at this point. Because Mike McCarthy is on the hot seat. If the Packers win out, there could be a chance he stays. But if they lose this game, it could be the final straw for this Packers front office. But I'll take the Packers to win this week. Next, we got the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. And I don't really want to pick this game, if I'm going to tell you the truth. I kind of just flipped the coin for this one, as I did with another game as well, which I'll get to in a minute. I'm picking the Dolphins just for really no circumstance of a reason other than I just don't know who to pick. Although Josh Allen had a pretty good performance last week. Well, not really a great performance, but a good enough performance to win the game last week. And it's going to be interesting to see if the Bills can actually provide Josh Allen a receiving corps. So that will be interesting in the future. But I'll take the Dolphins to win this week. Next, the Chicago Bears and the New York Giants. The Giants are another one of those teams as well that have played some teams close. They played the Falcons close on Monday Night Football. They played the Eagles close last week. But the Bears, I think the Bears are the best defense in the NFL, and I think it's going to show. I'm going to pick the Bears to win this week, Though I think the Giants might keep this one close, I like the Bears. Next, we got the Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to take the Panthers. The Buccaneers, they had a good start to the season, but it's not ending well. And there's still some little issues at quarterback. They go to Fitzpatrick, then they go to Winston, back to Fitzpatrick, back to Winston. And it's just a mess at the quarterback position for the Buccaneers. I'm going to take Carolina. Even though Carolina's on a little bit of a skid right now. A 3-game losing streak. But I think the Panthers go back to their winning ways. Next, we got the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to take the Colts because the Jaguars, not only did they fire their offensive coordinator, but they have sent Blake Bortles to the bench, and Cody Kessler will be starting in this game. Meanwhile, the Colts are getting better and better every single week. They're winning games, and they're winning games. I think they'll win another game. I like Indianapolis. Next, we got the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans. Texans on an 8-game winning streak. The Browns on a 2-game winning streak. I'm going to take the Texans. Although I want to see this game get competitive, it's going to be interesting to watch this matchup. 2 young quarterbacks. You got Baker Mayfield for Cleveland, Deshaun Watson for Houston. 2 young quarterbacks going at it. It's going to be a fun one, but I will take the Texans. Next, we got the New York Jets and the Tennessee Titans. Now, this is another game where I just flipped the coin as well, and it landed on the Titans. So, I'm going to take Tennessee. Next, we've got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Oakland Raiders. Not much to discuss. The Raiders should just tank at this point because John Gruden's already ruined the season for the Raiders. So, I'll take KC. Next, up the Minnesota Vikings, the New England Patriots. This is going to be one of the best games of the week, if not the best one. The Vikings are coming off an emotional victory over the Green Bay Packers, and whenever the Vikings beat the Packers, it's usually an emotional victory because this is a rivalry that's kind of been one-sided lately. The Packers kind of dominated the Vikings at some point, but then the Vikings are getting some wins. It's kind of a back and forth kind of thing. So the Vikings come off an emotional victory. They're now going on the road to Foxborough, and we're in that stage, late November, early December, where the Patriots start their winning ways and they start to dominate people. And I think this is the worst time for the Vikings to play the Patriots. I feel like if this game was probably in week 4, I would say the Vikings would win. But since it's week 13, we're getting towards the end of the regular season. When the Patriots start thinking about the playoffs, they start playing like a Super Bowl winning team. That's when they hit their stride, and they're at their stride. I'm going to pick New England. Next, we got the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks have been playing better in the most recent weeks. And the 49ers, well, Nick Mullins had a solid debut, but nothing really effective after that. So I'm going to pick Seattle because they're playing a lot better football right now. And this is a game where Russell Wilson doesn't necessarily have to put the team on his back. But he might have to if that Seattle defense, they give up some passing yards early on in the game. So I'm going to pick Seattle. I think this is a game where Russell Wilson is back and rest a little bit because he's been carrying the Seahawks throughout most of this season. Saturday Night Football, the Los Angeles Chargers take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the last time these two teams played each other was in prime time, and Le'Veon Bell scored the game-winning touchdown as time expired. This is on Monday Night Football. Probably one of the best games of that season. And I think this game is going to be coming down to the wire again. This time I think that Ben Roethlisberger throws the game-winning touchdown pass to Antonio Brown with about 4 seconds left. It could be one of those things where the Steelers are down by 3. They can kick a field goal to force overtime. But the Steelers want to win, and they want to win at that moment. And I think with about 4 seconds left, Big Ben finds AB in the back of the end zone for the win. Steelers will win on Sunday night, in my opinion. And finally, the Monday Night Football game, the Washington Redskins versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, are they going back to winning ways? They had a win against the Giants. I know it really isn't saying much, but any win you can get, it could lead to another one, and then another one. It could lead to some wins down the line. And the Eagles, they kept their season alive last week against the Giants. They seemed done in the first half. The second half, they came back and responded. And It so happened that last year the Eagles also beat the Giants on a game-winning field goal. And they did this again this year, but it wasn't as time expired. There's about 20 seconds left. But no matter how you get wins, all that matters is that you got the win. And it's going to be another game like this. In fact, I really see this game coming down to the wire. I think this is a game where they have to kick the game-winning field goal again. But I think the Eagles win this one. I think it's going to be kind of a back-and-forth game. Maybe not a lot of points are going to be scored in this one. But I like the Eagles to win. And those are my Week 13 NFL predictions. For review, I like the Saints, Ravens, Broncos, Rams, Packers, Dolphins, Bears, Panthers, Colts, Texans, Titans, Chiefs, Patriots, Seahawks, Steelers, and the Eagles all winning this week. Comment your picks down below. Also like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you next time for my NFL picks against the spread. Can I go 4-0 again? We'll find out.